So the next topic we're about to start is called finding a rule. So for this question here, you're asked to find the rule for the following sets of points. So my recommendation would be to include a table, like this one here. So the first step asks us to work out the pattern of the y values. So if I have a look here, we can actually see that they are all going up by 1. So that's our pattern. And what this actually means is this is what we're going to times our x value y. So if I have a normal equation, it will be y equals 1 times x. And if we have a look at x equals 0, what our y value, in this instance here, it is 3. We're going to add that to the equation. So if it was -3, I'd be minusing 3, but because it's +3, I'm adding. So my equation would actually be 1 times x, it's always going to equal x, so it'll be x plus 3. So if I have a look, I can double check. So if I incorporate 0 plus 3 equals 3, 1 plus 3 equals 4, 2 plus 3 equals 5, 3 plus 3 equals 6, 4 plus 3 equals 7. Once again, we have to find the rule for the following sets of points. So my suggestion would be to make a table like this, put in the points that we know, and try and figure out the rest, and then we can get a bit of a pattern going. So I think the easiest one for us to work out is what goes in the 5. There's a difference between 8 and 12 of 4, so if we go half of that difference, we're going up by 2. So I'll put a 10 in there, and we'll just see how it goes and if the pattern continues on, and then I get to this 2 when I get to 1. So 8 minus 2 equals 6, 6 minus 2 equals 4, and as you can see there, the pattern to continue. 2 minus 0, or 2 minus 2 is 0, 0 minus 1, 0 minus 2 is -2, -2 minus 2 is -4. So you can see there that we've got the pattern. If I now have a look at the difference between each of the numbers, I can see that there's a difference of 2 every time. So this is following a pattern of our 2 times tables. So what we need to do is actually we're going to be timesing y or x by 2. So we have y equals 2 times x. Next thing we need to do is find out if we're going to add any numbers to it too. If I look at the 0, that tells us if I need to add or take anything, and in this instance equals 0, so I'm going to leave it the same. So y equals 2x. And I can double check that. -3 times 2 is -6, -2 times 2 is -4, -1 times 2 is -2, 0 times 2 is 0, 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, etc. Okay, for this question here, I asked to find the rule for the following table of values. I'm going to teach you guys another way to do that, and we use this formula here, rise over run times by x plus the y-intercept. So if we have a think about a graph, the rise is our up and down, which is our y-axis, and our run is the x-axis, which goes acrossways. So from there you want to choose 2 numbers. So in this instance we're going to choose these 2. So if I do my rise first, I've got 36 take away 16, which gives me an answer of 20. Then if I have a look at the run, I'm doing 9 take away 5, which gives me an answer of 4. So this means that my rise over my run, so my gradient, that equals 5. So now I have y equals 5x. If you look at this here, it doesn't actually tell us what our y-intercept is because there's no x equals 0. So we kind of need to figure that one out ourselves a little bit, but it's pretty straightforward to do. So if I have a look at 5 times 5, for instance, and if I times those two together, I get an answer of 25. Now I need to work out how I get to 16. So for that, what I actually want to do, 25 take away 9 gives me an answer of 16. So let's double check that it works for some of the others. 5 times 9 equals 45. 45 take 9 equals 36. Same for 1. 1 times 5 equals 5. Take away 9 equals -4. So hopefully you guys can use this formula to help you calculate the equation of some of the future questions. For this question, you're asked to find a rule that describes the following relationship. So with the graph, the best thing is to put down some key points that we can identify. So whole numbers is the easiest way, and as you can see here, they've already done it for us here with the pink dots. They all land on whole numbers. So if I first of all follow across, there's my x value of -2 down to -4. I'm going to write that into this table here. So x equals -2, y equals -4. Then I have 0 going up to 2, then +2 up to 8. So if I follow what I was using before, rise over run, these two numbers here are easiest because they're whole numbers and I'm not going into negatives either. So if I look at my rise, remember that's our y-axis. So I'm going to go y equals 8 take away 2 divided by our run, which is our x-axis, and that's going to be 2 take away 0. So always work with the bigger numbers. Then that's going to be times by our x, and this instance we're fortunate that we also have a y-intercept given, and in this instance it's 2, so I just have to write +2. So now if I simplify that down, I have 6 divided by 2 times by x plus 2. Now that 6 divided by 2 equals 3, so I actually get 3x plus 2. And let's double check that that works. So if I go 2 times 3 equals 6, plus 2 equals 8, 0 times 3 equals 0, plus 2 equals 2, -2 times 3 equals -6, plus 2 equals -4. So hopefully you guys will be able to use all this stuff and do well with this current topic.